Most people believe that intelligence is something you're born with, that some people just have it while others don't. But Elon Musk never bought into that idea. As a child, he was bullied, isolated, and spent most of his time reading, sometimes 10 hours a day. But he wasn't reading for fun, he was building something. Not just rockets or cars, he was building a framework, a system for how to learn anything, and learn it fast. Years later, when he entered industries that no one expected him to survive in, like aerospace or automotive, he didn't flinch. Because while others saw obstacles, Elon saw equations, first principles, and a path forward, no matter how complex the challenge. And here's the truth. You don't need to be a genius to learn like Elon Musk. You just need to think differently. You need to abandon the old model of passive learning and embrace the powerful mindset that fuels the world's most innovative mind. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through the exact 5 strategies that Elon Musk uses to learn faster than 99% of people on the planet. These are real tools, real psychology, and when you apply them, you retain more, you grow faster, and you stop wasting time on methods that don't work. If you've ever felt stuck, if you've ever wondered why some people seem to explode with knowledge while you struggle just to remember one thing, this video might just rewire the way you think about learning forever. Let's dive in. Most people were taught that failing is something to avoid. In school, a red mark on your paper meant you were wrong. A low grade meant you weren't good enough. So, slowly, without realizing it, we began to fear mistakes. We studied longer, prepared more, waited for the perfect moment to begin. But Elon Musk doesn't think like that. In his world, failure isn't something to run from, it's something to engineer. At SpaceX, they build rockets expecting them to explode, not because they enjoy destruction, but because they understand. Something most people never do. The fastest way to learn is to fail, not once, but often, and fast. Musk's method is brutally effective. Try, fail, analyze, adapt, and repeat. When an early SpaceX rocket came back with a dented fuel tank, the engineers told him it would take 4 months to replace it. Elon walked into the hangar, looked at the damage, and said 5 words that stunned the room. Hammer it out. Let's fly. No perfection, no delay, just execution. And the result? The rocket launched on time, while other companies were still buried in planning meetings. That mindset, fail fast, fix faster, isn't just for rockets. It's for everything. If you're trying to learn coding, business, languages, or art, don't wait to master the theory. Don't spend weeks organizing notes, color-coding chapters, or watching tutorials endlessly. Start now, start messy, start wrong, then adjust. That's how real mastery happens. Because the truth is, the brain doesn't learn through perfection. It learns through resistance, through correction, through tension, like a muscle under pressure. Psychologists call this active failure. You engage fully with the process, even knowing you'll make mistakes. That struggle sends a signal to your brain. It says, pay attention, this matters. And as you correct yourself, neurons fire, pathways strengthen, memory forms. Think of how a baby learns to walk. They don't read about balance. They fall, over and over. Each fall teaches their body something no book ever could, and eventually they walk with confidence. You were born to learn that way. But over time, society taught you to sit still, stay safe, and study before acting. Elon Musk ignored that rule, and he moved faster than anyone else, because action always beats preparation. But here's the second part of his genius, the 80-20 rule, also called the Pareto principle. It means that 80% of your results come from just 20% of your efforts. Elon doesn't waste time on what doesn't move the needle. He focuses only on what creates results. So, how does that apply to you? If you're learning a new language, don't start by memorizing obscure vocabulary. Focus on the 500 most common words. Use them in sentences, speak them aloud, make mistakes. If you're preparing for an exam, don't just reread the textbook. Dive into past exam questions, test yourself, miss questions, then go back and fill in the gaps. If you're building a business, don't spend 6 months designing the perfect logo. Launch something small, get real feedback, iterate. This is what Elon understands deeply. Progress doesn't come from being right the first time. It comes from being wrong quickly and adjusting wisely. The longer you wait to begin, the longer you delay the very lessons that will move you forward. Every mistake you make is data. Every misstep is direction. And every failure, when analyzed, is fuel. Elon Musk doesn't avoid failure. He uses it as a compass. That's why SpaceX moves faster than billion-dollar institutions. They test, they break, they rebuild. And with each failure, they gain knowledge competitors don't have. So the question is, what are you waiting for? If you're stuck waiting for the perfect moment to start learning, building, or growing, you're losing time. Right now, choose one area of your life where you're holding back. Maybe it's learning to code, starting a YouTube channel, speaking in public, or writing your first book. So ask yourself this: what's the smallest, most imperfect version I could try today? Then do it. Don't wait to be ready. Read the article, record the video, post the idea, email the client, launch the draft. You'll mess up. That's the point. But once you do, something powerful happens. You'll learn faster than you ever imagined. Because the brain responds to real engagement, not just passive absorption. Action builds confidence, mistakes sharpen judgment, and iteration leads to excellence. Elon Musk is not a superhuman. He's simply someone who moves faster through failure than the rest of us. And so can you. If you internalize one thing from this video, let it be this: perfection is the enemy of progress. Excellence isn't built in the shadows, it's shaped in motion. Real learners fail early, fail often, and fail forward. Now it's your turn. Strip away the fear. Forget what school taught you. And embrace the truth: mistakes are not the enemy. They are the gateway to mastery. If you're not failing, you're not learning. And if you want to learn like Elon Musk, you need to start acting like him. So start today. Start imperfect. Start afraid. But start. They say you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Elon Musk took that literally. When he wanted to learn about rockets, he didn't go back to school. He didn't wait to enroll in a university or complete a traditional aerospace program. He found the people who had already done it and got as close to them as possible. He listened. He asked questions. He absorbed. He surrounded himself with minds sharper than his own. Because he understood something most of us overlook. If you want to learn faster, you need to shorten the distance between you and those who already know. And that's what we call proximity learning. Elon didn't try to reinvent the wheel. He stood next to the people who built it. From Tom Mueller, one of the top propulsion engineers in the world, to Jim Cantrell, a veteran of space exploration, Elon created a learning environment that operated like a living classroom. But here's the key. He wasn't just in the room. He was engaged, obsessed, focused. Every conversation was a lesson, every meeting a lecture, every project a test. This is modeling at its highest level. You place yourself near excellence and let it sharpen you. Now, maybe you don't have access to rocket scientists or billionaires. That's okay, because in today's world, proximity is no longer physical. It's digital. You can study at MIT without ever stepping foot on campus. You can watch lectures from Stanford on your phone. You can join Discord communities filled with engineers, developers, marketers, designers. Whatever you're trying to become, the people are out there. And they're talking, they're sharing, they're building. All you need to do is show up and listen like it's your mission. The problem is most people passively consume. They scroll, they watch, they read, but they don't engage. Elon didn't just consume information. He converted it into motion. He questioned, he contributed. He asked the kind of questions that revealed holes in his understanding. And he wasn't afraid to look stupid. That's the second piece of proximity learning. You don't just copy the expert. You challenge yourself in their presence. You show up as a student, not just a spectator. Let's say you want to master a skill like design. Watch the best designers on YouTube, yes, but then message them. Ask a question, join their live sessions, try to recreate their work, and when you fail, ask why. Repeat the process. Turn admiration into apprenticeship. That's the shortcut most people miss. Learning through proximity collapses time. Instead of spending years figuring it out alone, you absorb decades of insight in months, just by staying close to the right people. Elon did it across industries. He didn't have to become the world's top engineer. He just needed to learn enough, fast, and trust the brilliance of those around him. But his genius was in how he positioned himself. He asked the best people the best questions, and he listened deeply. So ask yourself, who are you learning from right now? Whose voice shapes your thinking? Who are you modeling, even unconsciously? Because you're learning from someone, whether you realize it or not. It might be creators on your feed, or colleagues at work, or friends who play small. And if you're not careful, your growth will reflect their limits. That's why proximity is powerful, but dangerous if you stay around the wrong people. If you want to learn like Elon, you have to curate your environment with intention, fill your world with excellence, follow creators who inspire action, read books that challenge you, join groups that make you feel like the beginner in the room, because that discomfort is growth. Elon made it a habit to be the least knowledgeable person in a meeting, because that meant he was in the right room. His ego didn't block him from learning, and neither should yours. If you're the smartest person in your circle is too small. Break out, reach higher. And here's a tool that will change how you do it. It's a simple exercise. Pick one expert in the field you're trying to learn. Study everything they've published for 1 week. Their articles, their interviews, their speeches. Take notes. Highlight patterns. Write down questions, then go to the next one. Do this for 4 weeks. You'll absorb more in a month than most do in a year. This is focused modeling. Intentional proximity. Elon doesn't casually learn. He studies obsessively. He breaks down people's thinking until he understands how they see the world. Then, he builds on top of it. That's why he moves so fast across industries. He doesn't guess. He reverse engineers the minds of masters. And you can do the same. Today, you don't need a network of CEOs to begin. You have podcasts, books, TED Talks, masterclasses, Reddit threads, courses, open source code. You have everything, but it's not enough to consume. You have to activate. You have to ask questions, test ideas, build your version, and fail publicly when needed, because real proximity isn't about sitting quietly next to brilliance. It's about letting brilliance challenge you until you grow. Learning faster isn't about being smarter. It's about learning how to learn through those who already walked the path. So find them, follow them, learn from them, and when the time comes, stand beside them not as a fan but as a peer in progress. Elon Musk built rockets by modeling masters. What could you build if you did the same? Time is the only resource you can't earn back. You can lose money and make it again. You can lose focus and regain it. But once an hour passes, it's gone, forever. Elon Musk knows this better than anyone, and that's why urgency isn't just part of his work ethic, it's embedded into his thinking. When most people are still planning, Elon is already executing. When others hesitate, he decides. He doesn't wait for permission. He moves, fast, with intention, with intensity. That's the third key to learning anything 10x faster. Develop an extreme sense of urgency. Because learning doesn't just depend on how hard you study. It depends on how fast you act on what you've learned. There's a story. When Elon was scouting for a rocket testing site, his team suggested evaluating a few locations and then deciding later. Elon said no. He got up, jumped on a plane, and flew to check it that same day. Why? Because he knew that time kills momentum. If he waited, someone else might move first. If he delayed, doubts would grow. So he moved and secured the site. This mindset is backed by one of the most powerful productivity laws in psychology, Parkinson's law. It says that work expands to fill the time you give it. If you set a deadline of 2 weeks, the task magically takes 2 weeks. But if you set a deadline of 2 hours, you'll find a way to do it in 2 hours. It's not magic, it's constraint. And constraint breeds creativity. So how does this relate to learning? Most people think they need months to master something. They set vague goals like, I'll learn to code this year, or I'll start studying for that test soon. But without urgency, the goal dies in comfort. You need pressure, not the kind that paralyzes you, but the kind that wakes you up. The kind that says, let's go. Here's how Elon would do it. He'd take a complex subject, break it into chunks, and set absurdly short timelines to master each piece. He'd sprint, test, adjust, move on, while others are still reading. The introduction. He's building the first prototype. Because learning is a contact sport. You don't grow by standing on the sidelines. You grow by throwing yourself into the arena before you're ready. And here's the secret. When you set impossible deadlines, you unlock possible results. You stop overthinking, you focus, you find shortcuts. Your brain stops worrying about being perfect and starts searching for what really matters. And that's where speed becomes your ally. Not rushed, not careless, but urgent, precise, controlled speed. You can practice this right now. Take something you've been postponing. Maybe it's writing your first script or reading that book you bought months ago or launching that online course. Set a timer for 45 minutes. No distractions. Just focus. Tell yourself, I'll do as much as I can in this window. You'll be amazed what happens. You'll move, you'll learn, you'll surprise yourself. This isn't just theory. Neuroscience shows that urgency sharpens cognition. It activates the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for focus, decision-making, and action. That's why people often perform better under pressure. It's not stress, it's activation. Elon uses that on a global scale. You can use it at your desk. Right now, set short sprints, build impossible deadlines, and then chase them with everything you've got. You'll learn more in a single day of focused urgency than in a month of scattered effort. And this is how Elon built Tesla, SpaceX, and everything in between. By refusing to wait. By deciding that time was not his enemy, but his fuel. The rest of the world takes years to do what Elon does in months, not because he's superhuman, but because he treats every hour like it matters. Every meeting has a goal, every decision has a timer, every learning moment has a deadline. That's how urgency works. It compresses time, it forces efficiency, it sharpens focus. You can apply it in your own learning today. If you're studying for something, break your session into 25-minute Pomodoros. No multitasking, just one mission, then a short break, then go again. If you're reading a book, give yourself 15 minutes to summarize the chapter out loud. Even if you mess up, you'll retain more. If you're building a skill, give yourself 1 week to create something, anything, that proves what you've learned. A blog post, a mock design, a landing page. Urgency transforms you from a consumer of knowledge into a producer of mastery. And that's what separates Elon Musk from the rest. He learns on the move, he grows through motion, he accelerates through action. While others talk about it, he's doing it. You don't need to become Elon Musk, but you can learn like him. Right now, take whatever goal you've been putting off and put a countdown on it. Not a someday, not a when I feel ready, a real deadline, then race the clock. You'll discover abilities you didn't know you had. You'll move through resistance that used to hold you back, and you'll feel something rare. Momentum. The kind that builds, the kind that multiplies, the kind that makes you unstoppable. This is your wake-up call. You don't need more time, you need more urgency. Because learning doesn't happen tomorrow. It happens now. Complexity is seductive. It makes you feel smart. The more advanced the theory, the more complicated the language, the more impressive it seems. But Elon Musk doesn't fall for that trap, because he understands something most people never realize. Complexity kills execution. And when it comes to learning what you can't explain simply, you don't truly understand. That's why Elon obsesses over simplicity. When he walks into a meeting, he doesn't want jargon. He wants clarity. When he builds something new, he asks one question over and over. Why? Why does it have to be this way? Why do we do it like this? Why not eliminate it entirely? In 2017, during Tesla's production ramp, Elon noticed a strange delay in the battery factory. A small step was slowing everything down. It turned out the delay was caused by tiny plastic caps being placed over battery pins. These caps were imported, expensive, and in short supply. Elon stopped everything and asked a simple question. Do we even need these? The team was stunned. No one had asked that. They assumed it was necessary, but when they checked, they realized the caps served no essential purpose, so they removed them, and production speed shot up. That's the power of simplification. It's not just minimalism, it's clarity, it's precision. And it applies directly to how you learn. When most people study, they memorize, they stack facts, they accumulate knowledge. But Elon breaks things down. He doesn't care what everyone says. He cares about what's actually true. He uses a technique called first principles thinking. It means you reduce a subject to its most basic truths, then reason up from there. Forget analogies, forget convention. Ask, what are the fundamental components here? Break them apart. Understand each one. Then reconstruct the idea in a new, cleaner way. That's how he approaches rockets, cars, business, and even time. It's the opposite of how most people learn. But it works, because when you simplify, you eliminate the noise, you discover what actually matters, and that's when understanding becomes unshakable. The best tool to practice this? The Feynman technique. It's named after Richard Feynman, one of the greatest physicists of the 20th century. His rule was simple. If you can't teach it to a child, you don't know it well enough. So here's how it works. Pick a concept you want to master. Try to explain it out loud as if you're teaching it to a 5-year-old. No jargon, no buzzwords, just plain words. You'll stumble. You'll notice gaps. That's the point. Go, back. Fill in the gaps, then try again. Repeat the process until your explanation flows. That's when you know you've learned it. Elon applies this constantly. When his teams pitch ideas, he challenges every assumption. He doesn't want complexity. He wants truth. And you can do the same. If you're learning a new subject, don't just highlight notes. Rewrite the entire concept in your own words. Draw it. Say it out loud. Record yourself explaining it. Play it back. You'll quickly discover what you understand and what you're pretending to understand, because real learning isn't memorizing, it's integrating. And integration only happens when ideas are simplified into your language, your logic, your structure. That's why Elon moves so fast. He doesn't waste time pretending to know things. He digs until the foundation is clear. And once it is, he builds. Strong, fast, unshakable. So ask yourself right now, what's something you think you know but can't really explain? What's one subject where you use complex words to hide confusion? That's your opportunity. Take that idea, break it down, start from zero, ask why it exists, how it works, what it leads to, and explain it to someone, anyone, in simple language. Even a stuffed animal will do. This isn't about dumbing things down. It's about stripping things down to the essence, the signal underneath the noise. Simplicity isn't weakness, it's mastery. Einstein once said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. Elon took that seriously, and it changed how he thinks, how he learns, how he wins. So if you're overwhelmed, if the topic feels too big, too complicated, too technical, stop. Don't add more, subtract, reduce, cut away everything that doesn't matter. And what's left is what you need to learn. The truth is, complexity creates distance. Simplicity creates action. The more complicated your understanding, the less likely you are to apply it. But when something is crystal clear, you use it. That's the difference between those who know and those who grow. Elon chooses clarity, so should you, because the faster you simplify, the faster you learn. And the faster you learn, the faster you change everything. Most people try to learn by force. They push themselves with deadlines, schedules, and guilt. They think discipline alone will carry them, but discipline without purpose eventually breaks. That's why Elon Musk doesn't just work hard, he works with meaning. Everything he does is driven by something deeper, a vision, a mission, a reason, and that's the final key to learning anything faster than you ever thought possible. Know your why, because when your reason is strong enough, resistance becomes fuel. When you know why you're learning, the frustration fades, the boredom disappears, the mistakes don't sting as much, because every obstacle becomes a necessary part of something greater. Elon isn't obsessed with rockets just because they're cool. He wants to make humanity multi-planetary. He doesn't build electric cars just to sell more vehicles. He wants to shift the world away from fossil fuels. His learning is mission-driven, and that's why it's relentless. That's why it's fast. Because it's not just about knowledge, it's about impact. Now ask yourself, why are you learning what you're learning? Is it just to pass a test, get a promotion? Impress someone else? Or is it something more, something that lights you up? Something that pulls you forward instead of pushing you from behind? If you don't know your why, learning becomes a chore, a grind. But when you do, everything changes. Suddenly, studying becomes devotion. Reading becomes revelation. Practice becomes progress. And time bends in your favor. You go deeper, you stay longer, you retain more. Because you're not just feeding your brain, you're feeding your soul. Elon questions everything, including assumptions that most people blindly accept. When he was quoted absurd prices for rocket parts, he asked why. When people told him it couldn't be done, he asked why not. And when others told him to slow down, he asked what the cost of waiting would be. That's the mindset of someone who knows his why. He doesn't just move fast, he moves with purpose, and you can too. Start by asking yourself, what am I truly chasing? Not just the surface goal, not just the number on the paper or the title on the door, but the feeling, the contribution, the identity. Who are you becoming by learning this? What will it unlock? Who will it serve? When your learning connects to something bigger than yourself, it becomes magnetic. You don't have to force it anymore, you're pulled by it. And that pull creates consistency. Motivation fades, but meaning remains. So here's a practice. Write down your why. Make it simple. Make it clear. Maybe it's, I want to build a life I'm proud of. I want to teach my kids what I never learned.